For a bit of context, this just happened.
Thousands of supporters of President Trump stormed the US Capitol building.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
That is bad news.
Yes, it's a bad look for democracy to non-democratic nations. It's bad for the US as it destabilizes their political situation even further, but in my eyes it's especially bad because of the message the people stood for who attended that event. I usually claim that in general the world seems to slowly strive to a more moral standpoint as time progresses, but the recent events make clear that a lot of people would rather stay in the past than strive for a better world. Back in ancient Rome, people who didn't have slaves but could afford them and didn't want to have slaves because it was morally wrong, most people would have thought of these people as utter morons. Ooh, we're so special with our morality. Did morality change? Was it okay back then? Obviously not. It was just as wrong back then as it is now, but it took forever for the majority of people to finally get their head around, hey, if I were a slave, that would be rather terrible, so maybe let's not have slaves, huh? It even took the US a civil war to kind of force a bunch of states that obviously were so morally backwards, they actually had to have their... You get the point. Racism. Hey, it's a bad idea to treat people differently, worse, just because they look different. Gender equality. Hey, let's not treat people differently because of how they identify or look or whatever. Why is this so hard? Probably 99% of humanity are still incapable of putting themselves in someone else's shoes. Think this is a bit much? Let's play a game of what if I was X, shall we? Let's start simple. What if I was a slave? How would I feel about that? Easy. Slavery equals bad, okay. What if I was female and people treated me as merely a subject of sexual interest? How would I feel about that? What if I was gay and I dared to love someone you didn't approve of and you'd stop me from being with that person? What if I had a skin color that people disliked for no apparent reason? Why would me being merely different in some way justify treating me worse? Before we continue, let's test a method that we use to determine what's morally correct. What if I was a stone that people trampled on? Oh, wait, stones aren't sentient, they don't feel stuff, so I guess that'd be perfectly okay with me. Nobody harmed here. Awesome. Seems good to go then. Now, let's get to the things modern Western societies haven't generally accepted, but that follows the same logic. What would that be? Well, what if I was a person working in a clothing factory somewhere in a third world country with my health put at risk because someone in the important countries needs a new sweatshirt? This is the person suffering. How is their suffering less important than your desire for cheap clothing? This is not rare. This is pretty much how all clothes are produced. What if I was a child, potentially forcefully taken away from my parents to work on a farm to pick some random exotic fruit that then can be shipped to Western countries? Do you need cheap mangoes and cheap chocolate and cheap whatever other thing so much that you're willing to approve such harm being done to a person? Again, this is not rare, this isn't new, you aren't forced to buy these things. It all comes down to your choices. Shall we continue? What if I was a baby cow and people took me away from my mother to drink her milk? Cows have feelings, you do. There's no difference in the emotions you perceive and they perceive. Why is the sadness of a baby cow worth less than your desire for milk out of all things? What if I was a chicken and had to live squeezed in a box, trampled on by all the other chickens, hurt, potentially forcefully fed, eventually killed? Chickens have feelings, you do. Again, where's the difference? Why is the life of a sentient being worth less than your desire for a certain type of food? There's nothing that magically makes their lives being taken acceptable or your life more valuable. This is beyond ridiculous. It's saying I want strawberry ice cream so bad that I don't care if you need to kill these 10 incredibly cute kittens as long as you don't kill them anywhere I can see. Can I have yellow and blue sprinkles on the ice cream, please? Oh, come on. This is so utterly wrong. How much longer will it take the majority, even a sizable fraction of our societies, to pick up on this? It's been thousands of years. Oh, by the way, do you really think that chicken is a lot happier being killed if it's free-ranged, organic, blah blah whatever? If the chicken's emotions are exactly as real as your emotions, How would you feel if people would kill your grandmother to eat her and felt no guilt because she's lived a long and happy life? Yeah, seems pretty wrong, doesn't it? So you're doomed to starve to death. Absolutely not. Remember, there's these things called fruits and vegetables and grains and whatnot. They don't feel pain when they're picked. They don't feel sad when they're taken away from their homes or killed or whatever. They're alive, yes. They might even respond to damage, but they don't feel pain and won't mind being killed and eaten, unlike chickens, cows, and pigs, who hold their lives just as dearly as you do yours. It's not rocket science. Oh, and some of these vegetable things are even absolutely delicious. Your mileage may vary. If you want to live in a better world, be wary of the choices you make. It's absolutely possible to buy clothes that haven't been made by underpaid people in faraway countries putting their lives at risk. It's absolutely possible to buy fruits and vegetables that haven't been picked by some underpaid person, potentially child, in some faraway country. There are even organizations like Fair Trade that make it possible to support people in faraway countries by buying their products without approving of the horrible treatment of workers. And lastly, it's absolutely possible to live without eating dead animals or animal products. The choices you make can really make a difference to a lot of lives. You can save thousands of lives in your lifetime. It's simply a matter of your dietary habits. That can't be asking too much, can it? Thank you very much for listening. I've been Mazdian Perspective. You've been you. Au revoir.